Thank you so much, Mrs. Bartell and Mr. Quinnell and Sister Beverly, trustees, faculty, friends, and parents. Thank you for asking me to speak today. It is truly an honor, and I'm humbled by this opportunity. Brittany and Natalie, amazing job. Not only are these fine ladies going down in the history books of DSHA, but they were kind enough to spend one of their last mornings in the school walking me through the halls of my past, searching for some remnant of 1999. And wow, did I feel old when the best we could come up with was a trip to the basement, which aside from some new lockers, looks just about the same. And you, the entire class of 2011, you should be very proud. You made it. Thousands of days of schooling, tens of thousands of hours spent studying. Here you are, enjoying the culmination of so much focus and hard work. Sometimes it can be hard for us to pause and recognize where we stand in a moment in time. So much of our lives are spent remembering the past or looking ahead to the future. But life is richer and more satisfying when we grasp the present. Each day, each moment is a gift. You have done so much and done so well, and we are proud of you today. Frankly, never in my wildest dreams did I imagine myself here speaking to you today. When Mrs. Bartell asked me to meet her for coffee at 7:30 a.m. on a Monday morning, I had no idea what to expect. And when she invited me to speak to you today, I told her she might want to go back to the office and check my file before she made it official. But here I am, living proof that Divine Savior has a perfect memory, remembering only the good things about us, and not the occasional Saturday mornings that we may have spent scraping gum off the cafeteria tables. Now I know that you're all eager to get on to the celebrations and to the new phase of your life. I felt the same way sitting there in my white dress next to my best friends, literally counting down the minutes until I was officially out of high school and one day closer to college, another day closer to a newfound freedom. But just a few short months later, in the family minivan on my way to Loyola Chicago, I was terrified. Something was over. I was leaving my family and my friends, and I was headed for the unknown, for a new beginning. For me, freedom began with the shock of an 8x10 dorm room, which my new roommate had claimed as the showroom for her impressive Tweety Bird collection. But as I settled in, I was reminded of a lesson I learned at DSHA, that each day and each experience will be exactly what you make of it. I had landed in an extraordinary place, Tweety Bird and all, and I was loving it. And then I realized that I really had no idea what I wanted to do. So I figured I'd be a business major, mostly because I loved the thought of taking more classes like Mrs. Weiss's economics class. But as I started forming my own opinions about the world and all of its problems, I realized that the Wall Street life would be wildly unfulfilling for me. And then it hit me. My senior year DSHA campus ministry trip to Appalachia had a profound effect on me. Working alongside low-income families was a reminder that most of the world does not have access to the education and security that many of us have. So after graduating from college, I found a way to continue that work and use the skills gained with my marketing degree to take a position as a volunteer with Habitat for Humanity in New Orleans. As you might remember, I think you were probably only 12, Hurricane Katrina struck New Orleans on August 29th of 2005, exactly 5 days after I had accepted my first real full-time job. Great timing. The hurricane and the flooding devastated 80% of the city, a city with severe poverty, but an immeasurable love of life. Now I could stand up here all night and talk about amazing post-Katrina stories of survival and hope, service and sacrifice. I won't, but I will share a bit about what a life-changing experience it was for me. In post-Katrina exile, I found myself in 4 cities in 4 weeks, doing my best to work remotely. When I told people back home I was returning to New Orleans, as soon as the National Guard would let us in, I was met with a chorus of concern and frequent disapproval. Everyone knew devastation and chaos awaited us, but I knew that it felt like the right thing to do, in spite of all the reasons against going back. If so many people's lives had been devastated, and I had the experience and the ability to participate in rebuilding, what reason was there to quit? I'll give you a few. There was no potable water, and no gas and no hot water. There was a 6 p.m. citywide curfew. Entire neighborhoods shrouded in silence and darkness. A single grocery store, 2 restaurants, and armies of roaches, fire ants, and flies. There was no mail, no garbage collection, no schools, and more people in military uniforms with AK-47s than we had neighbors. It was really scary, and most of us were totally out of our element. I don't even like camping. So over the course of the next year, I can't tell you the number of times I heard from the locals, "Y'all just moved down here? Boy, do you have bad timing." But I really felt that I was in the right place at the right time. One of our first projects at Habitat New Orleans took us to a neighborhood that had been swamped in as much as 20 feet of floodwater. We helped remove muck and debris and some of people's most treasured possessions out of flooded homes. One day we were getting the home of an older gentleman who literally had nothing left, not even his teeth. We stacked piles and piles of debris in front of his home all day long, and among the ruin, we found his dentures. At the end of the day, he looked at us and he said, "Katrina took everything from me, but she didn't take my smile." And there were hard days and hard lessons too. The hardest among them was learning how to tell people who had lost everything that we couldn't help them either. But I learned how to really listen, how to treat people with respect, and how to show compassion. Yes, it was exhausting, but we were sustained by the support of good people like all of you here. Volunteers, old and young, donors big and small, from all over the country doing everything in their power to help. Experiences that I never thought possible became commonplace, like the Secret Service calling my cell phone about preparations for visits from President Carter, President Bush, and then Senator Obama, arranging visits and volunteer days for legends like Willie Nelson, Bonnie Raitt, Drew Brees, and Dave Matthews Band. Honestly, I've lost track of all the artists, athletes, and CEOs with whom I've been able to work. And I say this not to impress you with celebrity, but to demonstrate to you, the class of 2011, that you can experience amazing results from following your gut instincts and taking a chance on doing something great. Opportunities come at unusual times, sometimes wrapped in odd packaging or disguised as unwelcome invitations, and frightening and undesirable. Life has a sneaky way of challenging us to accept difficult situations and endure stressful experiences so that we might grow into the people that we were nurtured to be. Sometimes, more often than not, those things that we want and those things that we lead don't lead us down the same path. So it's up to you to keep an open mind. Recognize your opportunities for what they might be and act upon them, seize them, accept the call to action, and experience what life has in store for you, the good and the bad. You will have an instinct about these opportunities. Deep in your gut, you might be compelled in a direction you are afraid or even unwilling to go. It's not always going to be easy, and sometimes seizing an opportunity means taking a risk, wandering from the path you envisioned for yourselves or the ones your parents may have envisioned for you. Harriet Tubman knew this when she said, "Always remember, you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach to the stars and to change the world." I'm sure that each of you will have and will continue to find yourselves in situations you never dreamed imaginable. You will be challenged to make difficult decisions and to test your limits. Once you walk out of these doors, your success in life will be determined not by what's given to you, but by what you do with all that is given to you, by what you make of the opportunities in front of you. You will decide how hard to try and how high you are willing to reach, because you've worked hard to make it your turn and your time. In the moments when you are making the most important choices, you will know that as graduates of DSHA, you have been prepared to make good decisions and to learn from your mistakes. We are so lucky to have had the opportunity to learn in an environment that encouraged us to be confident, opinionated, and passionate. We have been supported by faculty and staff, family, friends, and faith that encourage us to live a life of service and integrity. We can apply ourselves as critical thinkers. We can articulate our perspectives, and we can lead by positive example. There's no doubt in my mind that my experiences at DSHA set my expectations high. They gave me the confidence to apply myself and to encourage me to seize the opportunities that were bound across my path. Each of you leave here empowered to do the same and to reinvent the world around you. Congratulations to all of you, and best of luck to you on the roads to the future you expect and to the one you don't.